Hello, and thank you for joining me for this year's Millbrae State of the City Address. I would like to recognize my colleagues on the Millbrae City Council, Vice Mayor Ann Schneider, Council members Ann Oliva, Gina Pappin, and Wayne Lee. I would also like to thank and recognize those who have served in the past and who continue to serve the city in various capacities today. I'd also like to recognize Tom Williams, Millbrae's city manager, and all of the city's staff. They have gone above and beyond this past year to maintain and improve our vital infrastructure, protect our streets and homes, and ensure Millbrae remains a great place to live. Our gathering this afternoon, although virtual, is critically important. Now more than ever, as we are disconnected in some ways, we must take the opportunities afforded to us to connect with one another. 2020 has been an extremely difficult year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. From job losses and economic decline to feelings of isolation and depression due to necessary shelter-in-place and social distancing orders. In many ways, we were not prepared for this pandemic. But our response to COVID-19 has been more than commendable, and we have been successful so far in slowing the spread. We have been diligent in staying home when possible, wearing face masks, avoiding large gatherings, and staying socially distant. These actions have given doctors, nurses, and healthcare professionals the time they need to treat those most vulnerable and develop a vaccine. While our COVID-19 response has been necessary, it has had a great toll on our economy. Over the past 9 months, the Millbrae City Council and city staff have done much to support local businesses and help relieve some of the economic hardships placed on them. During the first month of the San Mateo County's health officer's shelter-in-place order, it was evident that it would have a severe impact on Millbrae's local economy. To help offset the economic impacts, the city, in conjunction with the San Mateo County Economic Development Association, set up the San Mateo County Strong Small Business Grant Program. Through this partnership, the City of Millbrae allocated $100,000 and SamCEDA allocated an additional $30,000 to support Millbrae businesses. With this funding, Millbrae businesses received a $10,000 grant on a first-come basis. The grant was not required to be paid back. In addition to the grant funding, the City of Millbrae's Community Development Department promoted and helped local small businesses apply for funding through the U.S. Small Business Administration's Paycheck Protection Program. In Millbrae, 409 businesses received PPP loans that saved more than 2,060 jobs. While some support has been financial, the Millbrae City Council has passed several ordinances to help ensure businesses could operate under the state and county's health orders. Early in the pandemic, the City Council unanimously approved a moratorium on the eviction of small business tenants directly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. The urgency ordinance prohibited landlords within the city from evicting small business tenants for non-payment of rent. Another thing we did was support our local restaurants as they were being extremely hard hit by the pandemic. Once restaurants were able to serve food on site again, the City Council unanimously approved an urgency ordinance allowing them to use city property for outdoor dining. Since then, 32 businesses have applied for outdoor dining and encroachment permits that allow them to serve food outdoors on their property, on city sidewalks, or on temporary platforms on public property. Further policy changes were considered, such as closing streets and allowing outdoor dining on the roadway. But all business interests, not just restaurants, were taken into account, and the streets remained open. Recently, the City Council took further measures to help local restaurants facing COVID-19 hardships by approving an urgency ordinance that limits the amount third-party food delivery platforms such as Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub can charge restaurants. Through the ordinance, Millbrae restaurants will pay no more than 15% of the price of purchase orders to food delivery platforms. In the past, third-party platforms have charged restaurants up to 30% of the purchase price per order. The City Council passed this ordinance because of the current hardships local restaurants are facing due to COVID-19 health orders, and taking into account that a greater percentage of their orders are from online food delivery services. The City Council and City staff have done much to support local businesses and the economy during this time. I commit to you, we will continue to do all we can to ensure Millbrae businesses and our local economy survive the pandemic. We recently hired a new community development director to help lead the city with important development projects and the city's advanced planning initiatives. As you know, the Millbrae station is undergoing significant renovations, and it is one of the most significant redevelopment projects in the Bay Area. The redevelopment of the Millbrae station has provided us with an opportunity to reevaluate what we have and look for ways to improve our community and economy. Significant progress is being made as the successful redevelopment of the Millbrae station will be a catalyst for our economy's rebound. Between the gateway at Millbrae Station at BART and the Millbrae Sarah Station on El Camino Real, we will add more than 840 housing units to the city, provide 400,000 square feet of office space for future employers, and offer nearly 50,000 square feet of retail space and bring in a new hotel. Two other developers have expressed interest in building office space around the station, and we have issued a request for qualifications to construct a data center on city-owned property. Lucid Motors will soon open its first dealership in Millbrae, and Outdoor Supply Hardware will be moving into the former Osh site on El Camino. These are all things that will add to our city's revenue. In addition, the city's adopted development impact fees require new developments to pay their fair share to the services and infrastructure that support them. The city is working to identify sources of revenue, including the approved 209-room Moxie Hotel and revenue from a new electronic billboard sign on Highway 101. Due to COVID-19 and decreases in sales tax and hotel tax revenue, the city's finances have taken a hard hit this past year and depleted some of our reserves. In April, due to state and county health orders, the city's finance department estimated a roughly $6.5 million deficit in our budget. Because of a citywide effort to reduce our expenses, we were only realized a $1.3 million deficit at the end of the fiscal year. Through a series of temporary hiring freezes and other cost-cutting measures at departmental levels, we were able to reduce our fiscal year expenses by $10 million from 2019 projections. I want to be frank, we are operating on a shoestring budget. While tough times and more tough decisions will need to be made in the coming months, we will continue to be financially prudent, look for areas where we can reduce our monthly expenses, and take advantage of all the state and federal support we can. Our economic development projects will pay dividends down the road and enable us to emerge from the pandemic in a stronger position than before. While we have undertaken many cost-cutting measures this year, we have not stopped our work on vital infrastructure projects. As you know, the city is in the process of replacing its aging water mains. Millbrae's water main pipes have a 50-year lifespan, and while still functioning safely, many are now 10 to 15 years beyond their useful life. In the past 6 months, the city has replaced several gate valves, rebuilt pressure regulating valves, and replaced numerous meters. In addition, the city has initiated a meter testing program in collaboration with the Bay Area Water Supply and Conservation Agency, and completed the design of the Broadway Water Main Replacement Project. We have also advanced to the final design phase of the water tank replacement project. This involves consolidating the 2 water tanks at Skyline into a larger, pre-stressed concrete tank. This new tank will require less maintenance and be more seismically reliable than the steel tanks it will replace. As you know, these infrastructure improvement projects are necessary, but have come at a cost of higher water rates to our residents. I want to again touch on why our water rates have increased in the past few years. In short, our water fees are paying for the water infrastructure improvement projects and pay for increased wholesale water rates from the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission. The city pays about $1.5 million to replace 1 mile of water pipeline. The city has replaced 10% of its water main pipeline so far. It has 63 more miles of water main lines that need to be replaced at a cost of more than $90 million, according to engineering estimates. That's the first factor. The second and most costly factor is the SFPUC. The city buys 100% of its water from the SFPUC. Since 2013, the SFPUC has increased the city's wholesale water rates by 67%. Because the city did not pass these rate increases to residents until 2017, funding reserves that pay for the system's operations, repairs, and upgrades were depleted. The increase of your water bill the past few years is paying for the necessary upgrades and to cover SFPUC's costs. Before the water rate increase, the city was operating in deficit mode as revenues had fallen below the cost of providing services. Rate increases like this are never convenient. To provide some relief, the Millbrae City Council approved a deferral of the water rate increase this year. In addition, the city is in the process of refunding its 2009 wastewater revenue debt, which will save ratepayers $3.6 million in the coming years. Another public infrastructure project the city made significant progress on is the Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. Although the city has terminated the consent decree with San Francisco Baykeeper, we have continued to work on our sewer system to prevent overflows during heavy rains. Over the past year, city crews have inspected 71 sewer lateral replacements, replaced 5 miles of defective sewer pipeline in the Madrone Basin, and replaced 1 mile of sewer pipeline along Larkspur Avenue. To better prepare for the upcoming storms, the city recently installed 2 new catch basins and a storm pipe along Hillcrest. Surface street conditions are another area where we are focusing our attention on. The city continues to make progress on improving our road conditions and remains committed to our one dig policy. Whenever we conduct subsurface work such as water and sewer main replacements and repairs, we repave that section of road. In addition to paving work at Larkspur Avenue, the city completed the design of Corte del Sol and Broadway. While the Broadway pavement project is on hold to allow for outdoor dining, the Corte del Sol project will move forward with construction shortly. In addition to streets, we are making progress to make our city more walkable and bike-friendly. The city recently started construction of a new trail at Josephine Waugh Park and is making pedestrian and bicycle improvements between the Transit Center and Spur Trail. The project is partially funded by a Metropolitan Transportation Commission grant. This year, the City Council approved the Neighborhood Traffic Calming Policy and Toolbox to increase residents' understanding of traffic calming solutions. This will assist city staff with suggested solutions to address concerns without negatively impacting the neighboring streets. Using the traffic calming conceptual plans, the city was awarded grant funding from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District to build pilot traffic calming solutions on Millbrae Avenue from Elder to Poplar Avenue and on the corner of Helen Drive and Tioga. In spite of COVID, we continue to do good work and look out for ways to improve the livability of our community. This means taking advantage of all the grants we can, planning for future growth, and making progress to meet increased commuter demands. In doing this work, we must not neglect our environment. As a city susceptible to sea level rise, we have taken environmental sustainability very seriously. Our environmental programs continue to be robust, and this year we adopted a climate action plan and reach codes for sustainable building electrification, solar installation, and electric vehicle charging infrastructure. We have hosted several community workshops and events and participated in numerous sustainability programs with partners like SunShares, Peninsula Clean Energy, and South San Francisco Scavenger. As we saw this past summer, temperatures are increasing, and across the state, we are losing our water supply. To help do our part in reducing water consumption, the city continues to provide workshops for households in landscaping and water conservation. Also, the city is now participating in the Lawn Be Gone rebate program to help residents replace lawns with native and drought-tolerant plants. The city's environmental efforts have been notable, and this year we received the Institute for Local Government's Beacon Gold Spotlight Award for reducing our community greenhouse gas emissions by 19%. As you know, due to COVID-19, many of our annual activities went virtual. Instead of gathering together for Coastal Cleanup Day, we encouraged households to participate by cleaning up litter on 4 different weekends. More than 115 people volunteered and picked up litter at parks, trails, and schools, downtown, and along the streets across the city. I want to thank everyone who has continued to be involved in our city's environmental stewardship efforts. Every person, every household, and every effort can and does make a difference. Last year, the City Council approved the schematic design of the future Millbrae Recreation Center. At that time, we changed the project delivery method to design-build in an effort to maintain the project budget and timeline. The city moved quickly to pre-qualify suitable entities and issued a request for proposals. This year, the contract was awarded to Block Construction and ELS Architecture. Since the groundbreaking ceremony in October, a lot of work has been completed to clean and prepare the site for construction. The project team has also finalized the exterior design and interior layout and holds firm the anticipated completion of the rebuild in spring 2022. Everyone can view progress at the site on the city's live webcam, which can be accessed on the project website. The project design we chose will give the city the opportunity to build out the property in phases, starting with the recreation center, then moving to either a gym or a park integration in a future phase. This design accommodates the youth, adults, and the elderly. The new Millbrae Recreation Center will be a 26,000 square foot facility that will feature a 2,500 square foot licensed preschool, a large fitness and wellness studio, a teen game room, an art room, multiple class and conference rooms, and a 300-person capacity community room. This has been a long process, but we are continuing to move the project forward and are looking for funding where possible. I want to assure you that this project is worth the time and investment. The new Millbrae Recreation Center will come back better and more efficient with more space, not only for those of us who live here today, but for those who will call Millbrae home in the future. Millbrae's recreation programs and services have been a shining star in the region, attracting participants from across the Bay Area. Obviously, because of COVID-19, many of our programs were moved to online formats. In some cases, this was good because it gave parents and caregivers an opportunity to provide their children after-school and out-of-school activities. These activities focused on a variety of areas such as STEM and coding, the arts, debate and public speaking, and needed homework support and tutoring. For those activities we could host in person, we saw a tremendous increase in the number of people who are interested in participating. From badminton and tennis to our summer camps and gardening workshops, we took advantage of those times when we could to meet in person while staying socially distant and safe. While we would have loved to host our annual events in person, we were forced with the decision to cancel the events altogether or move them to virtual formats. From the Spring Art Show to the Japanese Culture Festival, I want to thank and commend everyone who made the best of our situation. They worked diligently to continue these events in digital formats instead of canceling them, and because of this, brought joy to many people. There has been one monthly event that we have received overwhelming positive feedback on. The Millbrae Goes to the Drive-In movie nights. Each of the 3 drive-in movie nights that we have hosted so far have been a great success, with 50 to 75 cars in attendance each night. Our recreation department helped lead efforts in another important area, caring for our senior citizens. I want to give a special thank you to all the volunteers and city staff who worked diligently early in the pandemic to ensure our seniors were not forgotten. Between March and October, Self-Help for the Elderly delivered more than 3,200 meals to local seniors. City staff and volunteers facilitated wellness checks for 14 seniors and provided supportive resources to 383 seniors in need. Because of them, our most vulnerable residents were cared for and protected when they needed it most. I want to take a moment to recognize and honor the sheriff's deputies, firefighters, and first responders who serve Millbrae. They have worked thousands of hours of overtime to ensure our community and residents stay safe. The men and women of the Sheriff's Police Bureau and Central County Fire are continually vigilant in protecting us, all the while exposing themselves and their families to the risks of COVID-19. This year in particular, the Police Bureau and Fire Department have had to address mental health and wellness on many fronts. I am happy to report that they have taken the steps needed to provide appropriate support and care to those in need. In both departments, new policies have been developed to compassionately address people with mental health issues. Staff have undergone increased training in mental health awareness, and they now have several options to provide assistance to those in need. This past summer, we were hit with numerous wildfires across the state that impacted our daily lives and our health. Thankfully, none of the fires hit Millbrae, but we still needed to help. Central County Fire deployed firefighters to 8 wildland fires across Northern California. Because of their efforts and the collective work of thousands of firefighters from across the state, the fires were brought under control and countless lives and properties were saved. Our first responders also responded to an apartment fire in Millbrae that destroyed the homes of 11 families. A local nonprofit stepped up and raised thousands of dollars for each family to help them land on their feet and find new housing. In spite of our circumstances, we have done our best to survive and thrive. While we still have many challenges ahead, we have been very successful in not only listening to our health professionals and taking the necessary steps to slow the spread of COVID-19, but also in helping and supporting one another so that we can get through this together. Everyone on the City Council and behind the doors of City Hall are working each day to protect and serve you. We are working diligently to ensure we weather this storm by taking advantage of the opportunities presented to us and making the best of the situation. We are all working for you, and thank you for putting your trust in us. Thank you for allowing me to serve as your mayor, and thank you for joining me today. Have a wonderful and safe Thanksgiving.